I think I figured out why people don't usually remake their own lead screws.
Weird.
No. How?
Let me back up. This lead screw goes in this lathe and it lets me do this. It's also It's got worn threads, a bent shaft, and it's just straight up mangled. So I figured, hey, I have a machine shop with another lathe. I can probably make a new one. And that went poorly. Twice. Now a wise man might say, hey, this doesn't actually matter because digital readout. But I'm not a wise man, and sunk costs are not a fallacy to me. I feel like I've said this before. Welcome back to Inheritance Machining. You know what they say about doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results? It means you're dense. But I'm not dense, so that's why I'm trying something different this time. A big, heavy, fire-breathing different. Okay, not technically fire-breathing, but it is pretty fire. I spent 3 solid weeks and way more money than I should have making this custom heat treat oven specifically for this lead screw problem of mine. I'll be able to use it for other things too, but with this I'll be able to heat my metal to precisely whatever temperature I want. Like 677 degrees Celsius, the temperature for stress relieving O1 tool steel, which is the magical process of relieving stress. It also does some other magical things.
What the
Anyway, this initial stress relieving operation in theory should relax all the inner tension that was built up in the shaft when it was made. That way it doesn't come out unexpectedly while I'm machining it, which is exactly what happened last time. So let's see if it makes a difference.
Weird. It's like I turned a lathe into a guilloche machine. Guilloche? It's French. I don't know how to say it. I 100% used this last time. $385 off the end. Let's go. I might even be inducing that. 3,000 run out on an 18-inch shaft that I stress relieved before I machined it. Unbelievable. Already worth it to build an oven.
Now, everything is still oversized because, once again, I have a plan. All the machining I just did probably added stress right back into the shaft, and I expect a second stress relieving operation is going to warp things slightly. So I needed a little meat left on the shaft to straighten things up. But then something happened that I didn't expect.
I did not expect that.
The shaft basically didn't change at all. This stress relieving magic is definitely a handy trick to have in my back pocket. But to tell you the truth, I'm more of a front pocket guy, because 1, I hate being unlevel. It really unsettles me. And 2, I don't like any distractions to my natural curvature. That's why I use the Ridge wallet, the sponsor of this video. The Ridge is a slim wallet that's perfect for carrying in your front pocket. It's also the best one I've ever used. What I really like about the Ridge is how simple it is while just working. Stretchy elastic lets the wallet hold from 1 to 12 cards while keeping it all secure, and the polished inside plates prevent scratches to the important ones, like the one with your face on it. But if you run it old school, there are still options for holding cash and even those odd little discs of metal called coins. All that is to say that Ridge is minimalist without being limiting. And they bring that same mindset to their constantly expanding lineup of products, like the key case that holds a wide range of keys without the annoying jingle. Both of these come in the daily driver kit in all sorts of colors. So with the holidays coming up, give your friends, family, or even just yourself the perfect solution to your everyday carry. Use my exclusive link in the description or go to ridge.com/inheritance to take advantage of up to 47% off your favorite Ridge items. And thank you, Ridge, for sponsoring this video and keeping my butt happy.
I literally cannot get this thread right. Last time, I fucked it up because I didn't know how to use the lathe. This time, you guessed the wrong thread pitch. It's 1.25, not 1.5, you big dumb dummy. Why did you think...
What Angry Brandon forgot to mention is not only is the pitch wrong, but so is the diameter. As a consequence, this thread...
It's like shit.
So plan B will have to be something I'm getting really good at. Making mistakes, just custom features. But before I do that, I'd better make sure I can get through the rest of this lead screw without more customization.
No. 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 That's a good number. Why are you so sucky right there?
So I'm like 1 to 2 thou large across the whole thing except for one small region right here. You can see some like really jagged cuts. It's causing this whole section to be like 10 thou small. I've got a lot of words for that. The freaking backlash mechanism only covers like 2 or 3 threads. So if it falls within this section, I'm gonna have backlash, which defeats the purpose of making this whole screw. Why?
I was pretty forlorn, until I realized the matching tap I made is unintentionally undersized. Meaning the matching nut I'll make will be unintentionally undersized, so I still have a little room to intentionally make the thread smaller and smooth out that little hiccup. Just in time for another one.
I'm so fucking done with this project.
Somehow, the Acme cutter got a little bit rowdy and bit off more than it could chew. But that's not how this happened. No, that was at the end of this heartbreaking pass where my body parts decided to forget how to use this lathe and I crashed into the tailstock. The only saving grace is this section of threads is never actually going to see use. And after regrinding the precision Acme cutter on the surface grinder, I finally managed to get a thread to spec. Which is to say, good enough to move on to the geared section.
Well, I successfully dulled the out of my gear cutter. How? I've done this before.
Yeah, and those are cut to the same distance. You can see how...
On closer inspection, it's pretty clear the cutter is toast. It should be more sawtoothed like this rather than just round. And on closer retrospection, I realized I was running at twice the appropriate cutting speed. So in an act of pure desperation, I decided to try the cutter for gear ranges 26 to 34 teeth, thinking that's not that far from the 24 teeth I need. And it worked, but also didn't.
Guess who fried another gear cutter?
While it cut virgin metal fine, where I tried to salvage the previously work-hardened teeth made by the first dull cutter, I was immediately presented with a second dull cutter. And what was rapidly occurring to me, an unsalvageable lead screw. Back to the beginning.
It's a thing of beauty.
With a new day and everything going so smoothly, I realized I'm not all that upset about having to start over. The first, or rather third, attempt just had so many customizations that it was making even me uneasy. So it feels good to come back and set it all right, but I obviously can't do that without a new gear cutter. Yes, I do in fact have a heat treat oven, but it would take half an hour to get to quenching temp, and then another 2 hours to cool down to my tempering temp, and I just don't have the patience for that at this point. So 2 minutes with a torch and I'm ready for tempering. Now that is what it looks like when everything goes smoothly, backed by a series of learning from mistakes. But now, time for something entirely new. The heat treatment. Yes, I've heat treated the lead screw before, but clearly not correctly.
Ooh, it's a banana.
So this time I've got a trick up my sleeve that involves a series of questionable decisions. By standing my behemoth of an oven up, it will let me hang the lead screw vertically rather than laying it on its side where gravity could have an effect. I'd rather not drill a hole through my door though, so off that comes. Then one of my most elegant setups ever to suspend and also rotate the lead screws so that I get very consistent heating. In other words, the world's hottest kebab rotisserie. Because I like kebab.
Just occurred to me that I should probably see how straight this is before I... All right, 2 thou run out. Let's see how bad it gets after I heat treat it. Yeah, I know cat litter will help with this better, but I don't freaking have any, so. I see your little feet like this. You're so cute. You've not seen inside how hot this oven is.
So unplug it.
No, because I need it.
Why?
Because I need to spin it in the oil.
Stop trying to micromanage
I
you.
did not ask you for your guidance. I asked you for an audience.
It's your first mistake. You're gonna invite me down here. You're going to get guidance.
The bricks. It is hot. Still very hot.
You need to.
It's so hot it feels cold when you touch it.
That makes absolutely no sense.
All right, I still have to temper this thing, but I cannot resist. We got 25 thou of run out. Is that the worst? Almost 40. Even with all that, it's still bowed.
You can probably tell from my voice that I'm not completely devastated, but that's probably because I'm still naively optimistic that the tempering will fix this. So let's get this rotisserating.
Nice. 40 thou run out. Tempering did nothing to take out that post-quench bow. Do I try to bend it straight? Or do I try annealing it, stress relieving it, and then try heat treating it again? I think we go ahead and cook this thing to death. So yeah, it just keeps getting worse and worse. That it may not matter. The shaft is so springy and flexible, even if there is misalignment, it doesn't take that much force to get it back into alignment. It's not as hard either as it's supposed to be. The temperature I heat treated it at 750 degrees Fahrenheit, 400 degrees Celsius, should have made this about a Rockwell 50, but it's reading lower than Rockwell 40. We're gonna take it for what it is, and we're gonna finish this so that I actually just have a lead screw. Actually, I changed my mind again. If I'm gonna have a shaft that's bent, it damn well be hard.
Which somehow just doesn't seem to be happening for me. Literally post-quench, the shaft just isn't getting hard. Maybe I'm not using a large enough volume of oil to cool it, or maybe all my inexperienced heat cycles have just baked all the carbon out of my steel. Whatever the case, it's certainly better than the lead screw that came out of the lathe, so I'm gonna charge forward, as warped and as soft as this one may be.
Yeah, I know a screwdriver's not what you're supposed to use here. There we go. That's what I need. You can see kind of a partial thread on this guy. This is the backlash adjustment. I'm going to try and remake both of these. I think the real trick though is going to be matching these threads. I don't have one of those. The McMaster car box. We have a tap and some special sauce. Ooh. Someone please tell me why that looks like wood. All right, now we just need to make that. It's hot.
First try. I wasn't sure I had it in me. I couldn't live with myself though if I put this mangled ass backlash adjustment screw in here, so we're going to need a new one of these too. And of course the actual backlash half nut thing, which is a simple turning job and then a creative thread forming technique.
That worked about 3.5 times better than I thought it would.
With some positive juices flowing, I feel a little bit better about coming back to the lead screw. Yep, there's a couple more things to wrap up here. Once the shaft was hardened, I was going to have to come back and grind some of the final dimensions where the bearings and such go. But since this shaft isn't actually hard, I'm just going to ignore that fact and grind it anyway. For funsies. I also planned all along to turn this test nut into a thread lap. I'm hoping lapping will at least smooth out some of the roughness on the thread faces, which of course requires some of this very clearly labeled diamond lapping compound.
Well, that did a whole lot of nothing.
Was worth a shot, but enough foreplay. Let's put it in.
All right, here it goes. Oh, literally no backlash. Really consistent. Like through the whole travel, there's like no backlash, and it also feels like the same tightness, which I didn't expect with the lead screw being so warped. All right, so this is mounted to the cross slide. Now when I yoink on it, oh, it's like less than 1,000th. Was it worth it? Yeah, it was worth it.
Well, that just goes to show that through trial and error, perseverance, and most importantly of all, compromise, you can fix anything. But really, the number of projects, decisions, and mistakes that led up to this point has been kind of exhausting. So it's a bit of a godsend that even though I didn't get it perfectly right, it doesn't really seem to matter. At least until this one wears out in the next decade, or the next year, or next week. Whenever it happens, maybe I'll know what to do differently, and I most definitely won't make another video about it. Promise. As always, thanks for watching, and see you next time.